I'm at the point where if I don't pay attention to the screen, y'all, I'm just gonna say I'm creating something and I'm at the ending stages. So, for this ending part, you will need a pair of scissors, the corresponding hook and yarn. So, what we did here is, for this part of the cardigan, is we sewed along this edge. And the sewing technique we are going, with me. The sewing technique that we are going to do is called, it's the single crochet sewing stitch. I much prefer it than busting out needle and thread. So, here we are. Here we go. Now, it folds like this. Okay? Now, I generally will grab my yarn, grab my hook, and I will leave it attached to the ball so I can work a little easier. Now, what I do is I chain one. It's to make that slip knot go away. It's a secret. It's a secret chain. So, if I kind of don't pay attention to my screen, y'all, it's not meant with disrespect. Oh. It is so I can work on this. You gotta pull your yarn to where you can work on, use it to work. Hello, y'all. I'm finishing up my granny hexagon cardigan. So, I got my lip on my hook. And we're just gonna be doing this single crochet all the way along the edge of the cardigan till we get to here. And then we're gonna cut our yarn. And then I'm gonna show you what we do from there. Always that first stitch is always so rough, for me at least. The reason why I am live early is because generally the time I go on live, there is supposed to be a storm. And I'm trying to beat the storm. So, I've got my first two stitches on there. Say one and, well, my first stitch. So we're going to go back in. We're going to work in between the chain spaces. Gonna work in the chain spaces, pull up a loop, and finish up the single crochet. And we're going to cruise along at that until we get to the end. And then I'll show you what we do when we get to the end. Yes, I got it done this morning. And hello, everybody. Where's it? Oh, I thought it was somebody else. So, I know everybody generally does their lives kind of later on because that's when everybody is off work and such. But I'm kind of a homebody. But once you get going on this and you get ripping on it, what I did was I also, what's my tail? I hid my tail under my work. That's what I did. So this part is the easier of the two parts that I have to do. Because the other part is a little bit more complicated. It's still the same, but it's not. So we're using the same stitch though. And now it's getting to this part where it's more bulkier. So I have to move it around even more than normal. I've got to make a total of, I think, 3 more of these. So you will be having this on my channel for a while. There will be all different colors. So yeah. I will be working on this color again when I get more yarn for this color. But I will also start the other one of these. That way I can just start it and have it started. I'm already like halfway across, so. We're going to do this all the way across. I'm doing this single crochet all the way across. I'm finishing my cardigan. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I have 138 subscribers and my goal is 150. Actually, 145. 150 seems too much. Or whatever I get this live is even better. But I like setting a goal. That way y'all know what the goal is. almost to the end here. Yes. Now, and now to the end. And now what I do is I snip on this side of the yarn. There is a loop right here. We take that tail and tie that bad boy down. We'll make another knot. I always double knot my stuff, even or triple even, because sometimes things come loose. We just cut the tail off. That's the tail. Now to do the other part, I will hide this tail when I get to do the other part. I'm gonna grab the other piece for that. Remember how I did? I just did this on the other piece. I've done this piece already. This piece is already done. So what I do now is I will grab my yarn, which matches already still, and we'll work down the inside of the cardigan. Now this stitch, this single, chain stitch you just seen me do, will lock this nut down so it doesn't go very far. This is for my cousin who's in Indiana. So, will you please work with me? Okay. Always that first stitch is kind of funky. So now we're gonna work along the seam here. We're only working in the chain space. Here you're gonna work the second double crochet and in the chain spaces. That way we make sure that it's all nice, and because it's the back of the cardigan. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put another single crochet in the same hole, but we're now going to start tacking it down. tucking that tail down that way. It's in, excuse me, it's in place. Now you're gonna go in the, there's 3 double crochets there. You're gonna go in the middle. And then you're gonna sew right into that chain space. And then to go into the center of the shell. And then work in that chain space. And then the center of the shell again. And then we're gonna hit that all the way back. Okay. Okay. Now that you don't have to hold that other piece of yarn down, it should just fly right along. But always be sure to hit that middle shell, sew into that middle of that shell. That way your stitching is more secure. Especially when it's on the spine or on the back part of, or running down the person's spine. Jesus. That way it's more secure. And remember how I did all those knots at the end? I'm going to do all those knots again. Oh. I'm going to pull up my loop so you can see. See what I'm doing up the, chaining up, single crocheting up the center right there. It's kind of, it's easy, yes, to sew it together, but it's complicated in the same breath because you're holding 2 pieces of fabric together and you've got the arms of the cardigan knit. And the other thing I hate about doing this stitch is you constantly drop, or if you go too fast. However, my project is going to be another one of these. But I'm going to when you are single crocheting, never, if you're assembling something, never double crochet. It'll just better. Cardigan. We have enough yarn. I think what happened. Okay. Hello, new friend. I almost jumped over it. That's that shell that I almost jumped over. I almost jumped over the shell. I am working on the tail end of my granny hexagon cardigan. So I told you guys last live that I was, which was yesterday, I'm going to assemble my granny hexagon cardigan, this one, on my live. And those who see are those who see. So yeah. I am almost done with this cardigan. Gotta do my knots, my umpteen knots. And the knots are done just so that they don't, so the cardigan doesn't fall apart. So. And now I do it again on the bottom, and I pull upon that one. nice and tall. Nice and tall. I am making a granny hexagon cardigan and I'm at the very end of it. If you have liked and subscribed, you are awesome. My like goal is 5. Yes, I aim low on purpose. Okay. And now, see this nice, long, beautiful tail right here? We're going to trim it. And there we go. I will show you what it looks like. There's my ball. It's made to the person's size. So it's going to be big on me anyway. So I'm just going to shape it. This is the end. Hold on. That's one of the sides. So the hexagon, this is part of the sleeve, the under part. This is the, people have made it longer. That's the back of it. And that's the front of it. This is the other side. There's no seam under here either. Now I gotta call my cousin and show her. Alright, y'all. Sorry this was kind of a short live, y'all. Stay safe, peace, love, light, and stay hydrated, y'all.